learning about composting is that when you compost, it goes through the process of becoming compost, mixing water in with your materials, and then having water added and whatever. The last stage of making compost is like a curing process. When it's cooled down, it's kind of done, and you'll be able to tell and see what I mean by done. But that final stage of it is curing, which is I'm gonna screen it, take out big material, take out the earthworms. You'll see how many earthworms are in there, and I kind of put those in the other bin. But then we're gonna put it in a cover, in a tarp, or barn here. And what you do when it's here is you just cover it, and you can add a little water to it. It's going to be moist, and with it covered, it's not going to dry out. And you just let it kind of stabilize in terms of some of the decomposition that's going on, and it just kind of cures. It cures, and then at that point you could use it. We could use it now, but this curing process kind of just again settles some of the active stuff that's happening with it. Beds is after we've initially started them with a mix of compost, peat moss, and vermiculite. That's kind of like the start mix. But once we do that, the next season, I don't fill it back up with the same material. All I do is I top it off with compost. So these raised beds get, in the fall, when everything's pulled out, they get a dose or a layer, as much as filling it to the edge of the bed, of compost. So that's why the fall batch, boom, that's what I use there. The spring batch, when you then plant out, all I backfill a hole that I dig for a transplant, nothing but compost. So that for me is the two reasons. Now the other thing, and I don't make enough on site for this purpose, but the fleur de lawn there and that lawn in front, I've learned I stopped doing weed and feed. I stopped doing just horse manure. All I do in the fall, and again, at this point I have to get soil lutions. I love soil lutions, compost, but I got to get a truckload.
Yeah.
I put a layer of compost on the lawns, and in the spring, they're just beautiful, right? So compost, compost, compost. But so yeah, this is ready. So remember, this was at one point 4 feet tall. This whole batch was all of those pieces of wood tall. I need to get more made so it could be a little bit taller. It's not quite 4, but it's 4 by 4, and then ideally 4. So when this one gets done, and we sift it and I put it over there, this one, I'm gonna add more material to this for like another month or so. And once it's about 4 feet tall, that's when it gets turned over. So everything that's been composting on the bottom and is about 75% done will be on top, and everything that's fresh will be on the bottom. It's kind of like that. But this is ready. So again, it gets down to about a third of the size that it starts out with. And as you'll see here, you can kind of tell when it's ready just by the look, the smell, the feel. Yeah, you'll be able to tell it's ready. And as I was saying before, so I've already started to take some of the plants out of the raised bed. I let those dry for a little bit, and then I'll cut them up 6-inch lengths, 4-inch lengths, and then they'll go into the bed there. So here in the So really what happens when we're using compost to amend soil, or to amend soil, but to amend lawns or beds that you're growing things in, when you're amending it with soil or with compost, you're actually creating the environment again for growth to happen. But if you think about chemical fertilizers and what's the converse of what happens with them? With chemical fertilizers, they're this immediate boost, but next year you don't put the same amount, you have to put more, right? But with compost, you put it in, you're gonna have results, but composting is long-term. And actually you put less next year, because the dose you gave one season, it doesn't just stop. It amends and it creates life and it creates an environment for things to then come back. So you put less over time. Not the same with chemicals. Chemicals, you're having to put more and more each time to get even vaguely the same results you first got. Right, so compost, compost, compost. But so yeah, this is ready. So remember, this was at one point 4 feet tall. This whole batch was all of those pieces of wood tall. I need to get more made so it could be a little bit taller. It's not quite 4, but it's 4 by 4, and then ideally 4. So when this one gets done, and we sift it and I put it over there, this one, I'm gonna add more material to this for like another month or so. And once it's about 4 feet tall, that's when it gets turned over. So everything that's been composting on the bottom and is about 75% done will be on top, and everything that's fresh will be on the bottom. You know, it's kind of like that. But this is ready. So again, it gets down to about 1/3 of the size that it starts out with. And as you'll see here, you can kind of tell when it's ready just by the look, the smell, the feel. Yeah, you'll be able to tell it's ready. And as I was saying before, so I've already started to take some of the plants out of the raised bed. I let those dry for a little bit, and then I'll cut them up 6-inch lengths, 4-inch lengths, and then they'll go into the bed there. So here in the Southwest, the biggest thing for your bins is to kind of keep them as closed as possible. I alternate openings, but you want to keep it closed, because our problem here in the Southwest obviously is heat and keeping things moist, so that helps with that. I also then use a big piece of cardboard to keep it covered on top of that. That helps to retain moisture. I've seen people use big pieces of carpet, but trying to again keep it covered to retain the moisture. And there she be.
Nice
and so
dark.
If you come and look at this, you can, just right off the top, look at that. And it's nothing but earthy. See how crumbly and moist? That is ready to be sifted. And for sifting, what I mean is we're going to get out rocks, we'll get out sticks, and that's what we're sifting out. So let me go grab my shovel. Like I say, for this is just a homemade spoon that we made. And now again, a lot of these sticks and stuff that are in here, this is good. Those are for what's called bulking material, and it just provides little pockets of air in the pile as it's getting, as it's breaking down. So those are always good. Now with those pieces of bulky material, they can be sticks, they'll be sunflower stalks. Being in this material, right? What we'll do with them after is we screen this out, all this material, anything that doesn't make it through the screen as composted material, we're going to put in the bin there that's going right now, and these items will have kind of material and fungus and bacteria that have been helping this batch. Well, we're going to put them in that one, and it'll help get that going even better, right? This other batch that's over here waiting.
Things like foil.
Yeah. And a lot of people will say, well, can I just throw a piece of whatever in there that has like a, well, yeah, because it's not going to compost. I'll find it later. No problem. But see, there's all that stuff. And again, that is actually going to go in here. So all of this material, which again, you can identify everything, right? Pieces and plants, but again, all of this can now go in here. No problem. But see, there's all that stuff. And again, that is actually going to go in here. So all of this material, which again, you can identify everything, right? Pieces and plants, but again, all of this can now go in here.
Do you purchase worms, or do they just show up?
That's the best.
Look at
I
those
love
worms.
the
See
answer
that?
I get to give on that question,
Look at
which
these worms.
is what we get a lot of.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Oh no, hon, look at them. Look at them all in
yeah.
here.
And
There's so many.
And I love the answer. The answer
at all
is
these.
no.
They
They
just
just show up.
So no need to buy worms.
They know what's going on, and that's why one of the biggest reasons
It amazes me.
I don't promote.
Whoa, look at those bees. Careful, hon. They're really going crazy over there.
Oh yeah. But this is one of the best reasons why I don't promote barrels for composting.
Yeah.
Is because barrels are completely void of any contact with the ground.
They're shut out. And
And-
then you won't get your.
And I've been composting now. This is what this was our third year, and I've never added worms. And all I do is compost here on the ground, close to the garden, close to everything that's going on. And every year I have an abundance of worms, wet wrigglers, nematodes, pill bug. I mean, everything just shows up. You know what I mean? And so I don't bring them in or buy them. Now, if you're going to do what's called vermicomposting, which is composting indoors in a closed bin, then you typically need to purchase those red wrigglers to start off with, and then they'll reproduce, and they'll fill your worm bin quite speedily and on their own. But for my purpose of these outdoor just bins, I've not bought a worm ever. They show up. Now here you're going to start to see more, I had a layer of straw. See the straw there? And that's to kind of keep a layer of bigger material that can have air at the very bottom of it.
Just an avocado. I think that's what it is.
Again, at this point, what we've done is, what we're starting with, this has been sifted. You can see spiders, worms, pill bugs, everything's still there. We're gonna get all that screened and put here. I'll give it a little dose of water when we're all done, and then it just gets covered and starts to settle, stabilize, and in 2 weeks we're ready to go with it.